Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Munce Report. We're joined by the birthday boy, Chris Munce, celebrating another birthday during the week. Happy birthday, mate. 30, was it? 30 something?
Something like that, yeah. No, if I've got to that age, I'm not sure yet.
Pretty low-key birthday celebration.
It was, yeah, no, it was good. We had a pretty quiet night, but up early the next morning.
But there was plenty to celebrate over the last week or so as far as the stable's concerned. A winning double with Boom Nova and also Artemis, who's standing right behind us. So we'll go in depth with their performances along with some other feature race runners. We've got to meet the team this week with one of the senior members of the staff who's got a rich history, family history within Queensland racing, as well as all the weekend's action. Well, the party started with Boom Nova winning early on Doom at 10,000 Day, and I guess, mate, a significant win for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it was a dominant win, but also the fact that she was the only locally trained galloper to win on Doom at 10,000 Day, so a little feather in the cap there.
Yeah, no, it was very satisfying. It's been quite interesting. This mare at Eagle Farm seems to have improved out of sight, and I've got no idea for what reason. As I said to the owners, I kind of been a little bit reluctant to run her here with her history, and I just didn't know how she'd handle the track, but she's handled it beautifully. I thought her win on Saturday was probably a career best. It was set up by a good speed, which allowed her just to relax and hit the line strongly. So it was a very, very good win.
Lots of excited owners. You've had plenty of history with a lot of the ownership group from this horse dating back to Boom Sarah and now with her. And there was a nice little touch also with one of the owners, Monica, getting the winning sash, Monica Lindemann, who was unfortunately couldn't be here on the day because she was in hospital with having had knee surgery. Yeah,
well, so Monica and Rodney Lindemann have been with us since I've started basically, and as you've said, Adam, Monica was in for a knee op, but we were able to give her the winning ribbon. But Jeff Sinclair's in amongst them, Patrick Hoare, and a heap of owners, as you said, that were in Boom Nova. They stayed in for the ride. A good friend, Michael Angelos, who you interviewed last week. So, they've been very patient with this mare. She's only lightly raced, but I just feel now that she's just starting to come into her own.
Yeah, well, another chapter for those owners. So well done to everyone there. And let's talk about what's next for her. Yeah, obviously she's she's on the upward spiral, isn't she? So are you gonna throw her in at the deep end?
Yeah, we will. I mean, look, the world's her oyster now. Where do we go? I mean, we've got the option of the Helen Coghlan next Saturday, or we could wait another week and just run her in the Lightning Stakes here over 1,000 metres. So they're both two good options up our sleeve. I think a lot will depend on. We'll probably nominate for next Saturday in the Helen Coghlan, have a look, and then just assess it from there. If not, we'll just wait. 1,000 metres here, she seems to relish, and just hope that she can draw a good gate.
Well, it's exciting. It's a good problem to have options, isn't it? So she's certainly going well.
Going great, Guns.
Yep. And then another one who's going well is Artemis, the young fella behind us who he won on debut, making it a weekend double, and no doubt this was a satisfying one. Another horse that you purchased. I remember the day you purchased her, obviously purchased him being out of the mare ABBA. There was a few jokes going around, if you remember at the time,
yeah.
and he's made a great start to his career.
Well, we had a lot of options for his name, don't worry. There was a lot of names that he could have been called, but no, look, he was always showing us good ability. But early days he got a bout of colic, and he had to have an operation. They had to open his intestines up to relieve the colic, and hence the reason he didn't race until sort of late in his 2-year-old career. But it's probably a blessing. He's strengthened up. He's a lot more stronger now, and the way Luke rode him on Sunday, he was just very positive on him. He was adamant he wanted to roll forward, and the horse just showed his wares. He's one tough rooster.
Yeah, it was a brave win, wasn't it? Yeah, and I guess maybe the colic and some of the things he's had to withstand as a youngster going to set the tone for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I mean, look, he improved. His first trial he was just lost. He got lost. He didn't know what to do. And then he improved into his next jump out, where he was sat up outside leader and on a heavy track and ran third, but was given a very easy time. So, it was just good to see the horse keep on improving every time we put him under pressure.
Yeah, very good. Well, some excited owners there, winning on debut. It doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, they were pretty pleased.
Very good. And some other notable mentions across the weekend. Holterman was another debutant who didn't win, but geez, he went close, didn't he?
Very close, yeah. No, the horse that Kathy and I bred, he was 3 wide the trip on speed, and he's still in front 50 metres out, so I couldn't be disappointed with his performance. He's a nice horse, and he's only going to get better with racing.
Yeah, sure. And another top performer, Smart Meteor, another stakes placing to his resume with a third in the Group 3 Chairman's Handicap.
Yeah, well, he's another one. It was probably his best win or best placing to date in a Group 3. It was well ridden by Brock Ryan here in that Group 3, and got back but hit the line very strongly.
Yeah, and the other feature race runners, as Artemis has a little nibble here, Southern Stock and Pelisapan, they weren't in the placings, but they both ran really well, and you're happy with their runs heading into their future aims?
Yeah, well, Southern Stock finished fourth, and it was a fantastic effort. He was back, and Larry got going on him round the back when the speed steadied, and he was sort of had his momentum. I think if Larry even said himself, you know, if he'd have kept the horse striding forward and went roll to the front, it might have been the difference between running third or fourth, you know. So his run was very good, and Pelisapan, to come from where she did back in the field last to run on and finish fifth, where the way she was running on was a terrific effort.
Yeah, she really hit the line hard, didn't she? And yeah, sort of, I guess, good sign ahead of her next start.
Well, it certainly appears like she's going to get to a mile, 2,000 metres, which is good.
And have you mapped out? I know you had options with her. Have you
got a couple of options coming up. I might even just run her in a restricted race next Saturday before we look to step up in grade.
Well, good problems to have, as we keep saying, and good to see the team firing on all cylinders. Well, welcome to another episode of Meet the Team, and we're here with one of the stable's long-serving employees in Peter Strong. He's a jack of all trades. If anyone's been around the stable for a while, they may have seen Pete, whether it be at the races, he drives the truck to races, straps, he rides track work, and a bit of a jack of all trades. And Pete, you've been here for roughly 4 years working with Chris?
Yes, no, Chris has been my only employer since I gave up training, and with him standing beside me, it's been an enjoyable 4 years. So it's a great atmosphere, good staff. The horses just keep rolling on, and to Chris's credit, the winners are also.
They sure do. And let's just take it back to your lengthy history, your family's lengthy history in the industry in Queensland in particular. Tell us where it all dates back to.
Yeah, so my family have always trained at Eagle Farm. My grandpa was the roots of the family. He owned up to 20 blocks, houses in Hendra there, multiple stables, horses. He got accepted into the Hall of Fame just recently, and then obviously his father, his son Neil, which is my father, won a Brisbane Trainers Premiership. My uncle Darryl won a Group 1. And it was always in the family to follow their footsteps. So dropped out at school at 15, worked for Dad for 7-8 years, then went and got my licence. I trained for 28 years, which I look back at it and I wonder why I lasted that long, but it's part of racing, and fortunate if you can work with horses, you've got a job anywhere virtually in the world.
Yeah, sure. Well, racing's obviously in your blood, and there's even an association with yourself and Chris prior to you starting as the jack of all trades with Chris. Chris, you rode a winner for Pete as a trainer.
Did, yeah, no, it was when Pete first kicked off. I think it was his second winner or something, a horse called My Elusive Star, here at Eagle Farm over 1,000 metres, and he was a really nice little 2-year-old, owned by the Whitten family, but Pete trained him, and I think that was one of Pete's early winners.
Yes, no, well, I've been fortunate to watch Chris evolve, really. Chris was apprenticed to Harry Kerwin. When I was learning the straps, Harry Kerwin was someone to admire with his ability of young horses, which was my family's trade also. Watched Chris do the apprentice, come into the senior jockey, and we were fortunate to have him on that day. My Elusive Star was an expensive yearling back in the day, and it was good to kick him off for a win straight away. So thanks to Chris for that.
Fond memories there. And
the check's still in the mail.
And I believe there was another one, a 50-1 winner that we sort of were talking about off air previously. That there was a bit of a story there.
Yes. Oh well, back in training, you have a few runners, and you get a bit oblivious to their form and all of that, and I was just hoping Chris would put in a good ride, and which he did. He bounced it, led and won, and next minute we're in the steward's room explaining the improved performance. So then I had to put my thinking cap on, but yeah, all was good.
Very good. And let's talk about you now. Obviously, you've been a trainer. Now you're quite happily doing what you do here. Chris, obviously, is an important member of the team with all the different tasks that Pete fills.
Oh, yes, my word. No, Pete, as he said, he's been with me about 4 years now, and he's a great asset to our stable. He's a good friend, and he's a good asset to our stable. And we enjoy having him around the yard, and he's, as he said, he does most things. He does pretty much everything. He drives a truck for us, goes to the races and rides work. And no, he's a very good man to have around our stable.
Yeah, very good. And something we forgot to touch on is also you, as a trainer, you also dabbled in the pacing world while you're also training gallopers. Tell us about that.
Well, my father was training at Albion Park those days, which was a dual code racecourse, the gallops on the sand and the pacing. Dad had most probably, say, 16 racehorses and 8 paces. And he'd split the workload up, and obviously the benefit of pacing is that you could do the track work and go and drive them on race night. So I dabbled in that, drove a couple of winners in the country tracks, but when it was time to branch out on my own, it was an obvious decision which way to go.
Yeah, fair call. Well, you well and truly entrenched yourself in the galloping world, and just talk us through. We always ask the meet the team guests, who's your favourite? I mean, you ride a lot of these horses, and I know Chris changes routines up, as in you don't always stick with the same group of horses or whatnot. But who's one that's special to you at the moment?
Well, the current one is Smart Meteor. We've had him since a baby, a young horse. He was always an obliging, kind horse that you'd always look forward to riding. It's been a pleasure to watch him emerge, through the ranks. And I was fortunate, with my strapping, it's just the luck of the draw. And I fortunately strapped him on Saturday. So when you ride him track work, he's virtually the horse that you can relax, worry about the day's problems, and Smart Meteor will take you for the ride.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. And what about, have you got a young up-and-comer that maybe the people at home can look out for, that, something that's given you a good feel at track work?
Yeah, well, Artemis won on Sunday. I still follow the breeding, so whatever Chris buys at the sales, I always look up their pedigree and all of that, and it's part of my hobby, is just a thing. And I think as soon as Chris bought him, he was the one that I sort of went, oh yeah, and you couldn't believe one of the first morns that he's here for track work, I got to ride him. So I followed him through, and again, I still do a bit of riding with him now, just in generally steady work, but it was great to see him win his first start on Sunday.
Very good. Well, Chris, before we let him go, have you got any favourite Pete stories? I mean, obviously you had the association as a jockey, and now in a different capacity.
Oh no, well Pete. Good thing about Pete is he's got one word. If he rides one he likes, he calls it quality. So if he comes back in on one, he says it's quality. Well, then I'm happy. I can walk away and I know that I'm on the right track with the right horse. So yeah, no, it's as I say, Pete's he's very reliable. He's a very loyal and genuine guy, and he's a pleasure having our stable.
He's softly spoken fella, but he was banging down the doors to appear on this segment. Early doors when we were doing a show, Chris and I were setting up. We were rolling in the middle of the filming, and Pete was taking one out to spell, I think, and he just walked straight through the camera shot. It was pretty funny. A dry track.
Yeah, well, Tiptoes just wants that. All right, Pete. It's all right, Pete. We were just recording.
That's all right, mate. That'll make the bloopers reel. That'll make the bloopers reel for sure.
All right, mate.
All good, mate.
Yes, well, I just thought you two guys were having a chat. I knew the camera was there on the pod, but how do I know it's filming? Obviously, when I went, I knew I was in the way, but we see the funny side of it.
We certainly did. It's one for the bloopers reel, but no, great to hear more about your background, Pete, and all the best for the future.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Good to talk to you, and thanks, Chris, for the employment fun, and I'll be a good boy.
Good man.
Okay, Doomben Cup Day on Saturday, and Centrefire's on the quick backup, mate. She ran last weekend, and there was a bit of context behind her performance.
Yeah, well, look, she flew the gates and began very fast, as she normally does, and then Samantha thought that she'd be able to find a leader just to track and get a nice run throughout the race, but then that horse come back in her face and probably put her back a bit further than what she'd anticipated. And not only that, after throughout the run up the straight, she didn't get a lot of room and sort of had a whole momentum stop. So for that reason, she's come out of it like she hasn't even raced. And this race was on the program with Chief De Beers, and I thought, well, we might as well roll the dice. She's won at Doomben over the same distance 2 starts back. So the fact she's drawn well, just hopefully this rain doesn't come that they're predicting.
Yeah, sure. And obviously you said if she bounced through the run well, you've just ticked her over this week, nothing too serious?
Hasn't done anything at all, just trotting candid and kept her happy, and she'll do the rest on Saturday.
Okay, so you'd like to see her push forward this week?
Oh, look, that's her style. That's her style of racing. She'll be on speed there from a good draw. She doesn't necessarily have to lead, but she'll probably be in the first 4.
Okay, well, she's flying the flag for the team at the feature meeting on Saturday. Let's go to the provincials, where Failed to Mention's back to the 1200 here, but he is fifth emergency, so obviously you need a bit of luck there.
Yeah, just not sure whether we get a run, and the heavy track's not ideal for him either, but he's at a stage now where he needs to get to the races. He's been unfortunately not able to get there with all these wet tracks, and he's probably nearly not far off going to the paddock for a break, so we really need to push the button with him to find where we're at.
Yep, okay. Sunshine Coast Sunday, you've got 2 acceptors there. Majestic's Request, who we spoke about last week, he's obviously dropping back in grade from stakes level. He's in for a Class 3 handicap over the 1400, so you're expecting him to run well?
He's going really well, this horse. Obviously, this reign's a variable for everybody, but he's in good form. He's had, as you said, a freshen up from when he ran in the Guineas, the Daybreak Lover here, and his work since has been quite nice. So I think back in grade, he'll give himself a good shot.
And then Finskill makes his debut for the stable. He's trialled well, and Finskill means fairy tale in Irish. So the O'Toole family getting a bit of Irish naming.
Yeah, well, he's a lovely, lovely horse. Really nice horse, this guy. He's ready to go to the races. It's probably not ideal to run first up on a rain-affected track, but every horse is in the same boat, so we nearly got to go with him. He won first up, his first start in the career over 1200 metres, beating a good mare called Hinged, who went down and was placed in the AJC Oaks. So he's certainly got his good fair share of ability. 1200 might be a little bit sharp for him. I think he's going to be a better horse out over a mile, but having said all that, I think he's forward enough to race well on Sunday.
And you've been happy enough with his trials? He's looked pretty good?
Very happy. No, he's improved each time he's went fitness-wise, so it's just how sharp he's going to be for the 1200.
Okay, mate. Well, they're the runners. 4 runners over the weekend. Slightly quieter compared to the massive onslaught of runners last week on a bit of a different leg, but hopefully the winning run continues.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Just nice to see Centre Fight pick up a bit of black type there on Saturday.
It would be. Well, good luck to everyone over the weekend and have a great weekend.